gosh, Oliver, you know how autumn always makes me think of pumpkin spice everything and cozy sweaters? But the other day I was watching the birds in my yard, and it just hit me. They're doing something way more epic, aren't they? Like, way bigger than finding the perfect latte.
Absolutely, Emma. You've really hit the nail on the head there. Autumn is just this incredible, profound period of change for birds. Billions, and I mean billions, of them are either packing their bags for these spectacular migrations or, really hunkering down to survive the coming winter. It's truly marvelous.
Billions? Wow, that's a lot of birds. So why do they even do it? What kicks off that whole massive journey? Is it just the cold?
Well, it's a few things, actually. The primary drivers are decreasing food, especially insects, and yes, the colder temperatures. But shorter daylight hours, they're also a crucial signal. They trigger these hormonal changes that basically tell the birds, right, time to head south for warmer climates and more abundant resources. It's for winter, but also for their subsequent breeding season.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's not just a snap decision then. It's really built into them. When does it all typically start? I always thought it was just September.
It's actually a pretty protracted affair, Emma. It differs quite a bit by species and location, but it generally kicks off in late August and can extend right into early November. Some hummingbirds, believe it or not, they're already moving in June. And then you have some waterfowl still migrating in December. Peak activity, though, that's usually September and October.
That's wild. So, how far are we talking here? Are they just going down the street or full-on cross-country?
Emma, it's absolutely astonishing. Bird migrations span vast distances. From short-distance altitudinal shifts, just moving down a mountain, to these truly monumental transcontinental flights. Medium-distance migrants, like the blue jay or the eastern bluebird, they tend to stay within North America. But then you have your long-distance champions, like the Arctic tern, which undertakes an astonishing 22,000-mile round trip annually between the Arctic and Antarctic. Can you imagine that?
No. Oh my goodness. How do they even know where they're going? I get lost going to the grocery store sometimes, and I have GPS.
It's incredible, isn't it? Birds possess extraordinary navigational abilities. They rely on a sophisticated internal compass system, truly. They use celestial cues, the sun and stars, and also the Earth's magnetic field to orient themselves. Some species, they even use mental maps and recall landmarks from previous migrations. It's just mind-boggling, really.
Wow. So they're like little tiny bird super navigators. Do they change it all for these big trips? Do they pack snacks or anything?
Well, they sort of do pack snacks internally. As autumn approaches, many birds undergo physiological changes. Some males, like the eastern goldfinch, they molt their vibrant breeding plumage for duller, more camouflaged feathers, which, offers better protection. But crucially, many species accumulate significant fat reserves. The Swainson's thrush, for example, can gain 20 to 40% of its body weight before migrating. That's the fuel for their arduous flights, Emma.
That makes so much sense. All that energy storage. But it sounds like a really dangerous trip, even with all those internal superpowers, What are some of the biggest risks they face out there?
You're absolutely right, Emma. Migration is a seriously dangerous undertaking, and sadly, many birds just don't survive the journey. The challenges are numerous. Predation is a huge one, both from natural predators and, sadly, domestic cats pose a significant threat.
Oh, that's really sad. My cat loves watching birds, but I try to keep him inside. So weather too, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. Adverse weather is a massive factor. Severe storms, heavy rain, mist, unusually cold temperatures, they can lead to really high in-flight mortality, especially for the smaller species. And habitat loss is another big one. the disappearance of vital stopover sites, which are critical for resting and refueling, increases the risk of starvation. Drought conditions can exacerbate food and water shortages too.
Okay, so predators, weather, habitat. But I feel like we, as humans, also kind of make it harder for them sometimes, don't we? Like, I've heard about birds hitting windows.
You're completely right. Man-made obstacles are a huge problem. Window collisions, Emma, they're just devastating. Clear and reflective glass disorients birds, leading to an estimated 100 million to 1 billion collisions annually in North America. They perceive reflections as open sky. Light pollution is another one. It confuses nocturnal migrants, causing them to fly off course or collide with illuminated structures. And then pesticides, directly poisoning them or just depleting their food sources. It's a tough world out there for them.
Gosh, that's a lot for them to contend with. It really makes you think about our impact. So for the birds that don't do the whole migration thing and just stick around for winter, how do they manage to survive the cold? That seems like a whole different challenge, right?
Oh, it absolutely is, Emma. A completely different set of ingenious strategies. For those tough little resident birds that forego migration, they've got their own ways to deal with those colder regions. First point, many grow an extra layer of insulating down feathers during their late summer or early autumn molt. That's, crucial warmth. And they can also fluff up their feathers, which creates these air pockets that trap body heat and really maximize natural insulation. It's pretty clever.
So, like, they get a bigger winter coat, basically? Do they change what they eat, too? Because bugs aren't exactly plentiful when it's freezing, are they?
Spot on. They definitely adapt their diets. They'll switch from insects and fruits to more oil-rich seeds. And some species, like chickadees and nuthatches, they're really adept at caching or storing food. They'll bury seeds or tuck them under bark to retrieve later when resources are super scarce. And shelter is key. They actively seek refuge from cold winds in dense trees, shrubs, or tree cavities. Even empty birdhouses become vital overnight roosts. Brush piles, too. They're excellent temporary cover.
Caching. I'm picturing little bird treasure maps. What about, like, when it's really cold? Do they just freeze their little toes off?
Not at all, Emma. They have some amazing adaptations. Small birds might huddle together in groups to share body warmth on freezing nights. And some species can even enter a state of torpor, which is like a temporary, short-term hibernation. Their metabolism and body temperature significantly decrease to conserve energy. And their unfeathered feet? They're remarkably adapted through a countercurrent exchange system. Warm arterial blood heats cooler venous blood returning from the feet, minimizing heat loss. It's just phenomenal, really.
Wow, torpor and those feet. That's just incredible. It makes me feel like we really need to do our part, right? Like, with all those challenges you mentioned earlier, how can we really make a difference for these birds during autumn and winter? What's the first thing we should consider?
Absolutely, Emma. Human actions can significantly impact their success. The first and probably most impactful thing is to provide essential resources, food and water. Keep those bird feeders clean and regularly stocked with high-energy foods like black oil sunflower seeds, suet and nuts. These are crucial for both migrating and overwintering species. Offering mealworms can attract insect-loving migrants, for that last push.
So, like, don't just put out random stuff, but really think about what gives them the most bang for their buck, energy-wise. What about plants in the garden? Does that help too?
Oh, absolutely. Incorporate native berry-producing shrubs like dogwood or winterberry and seed-bearing flowers, asters, goldenrod, coneflowers into your garden. These provide natural food sources that really persist into late fall and winter. And don't forget the hummingbirds. Continue to provide fresh sugar water for late migrating ones and orioles. And water, Emma, it's so important. Ensure a consistent supply of clean, fresh water in bird baths. Seriously consider adding a heating element as temperatures drop to prevent freezing. Moving water features are particularly attractive to warblers,
That's a good tip about the heated bird bath. I hadn't even thought of that. What about actual actual shelter beyond our birdhouses.
Creating safe shelter is just as vital. Plant evergreens and dense shrubs. They offer crucial cover from predators and harsh weather. And honestly, brush piles. Construct them using fallen branches in a corner of your yard. They provide immediate, effective shelter. Don't rake away all fallen leaves either. Leaving piles under shrubs creates insect habitat, which is food, and foraging opportunities for ground-feeding birds. And clean out old nests from birdhouses in early fall to make them safe roosting spots.
Okay, so food, water, and shelter, those are all things we can directly provide. But what about all those human-caused dangers you mentioned earlier, like the windows and lights? How can we make our homes safer?
Right. Mitigating human-caused hazards is absolutely key, Emma. For window safety, which is a huge issue, apply decals, tape strips, or vinyl dots to your windows in a dense grid pattern, no wider than 2 by 2 inches for hummingbirds, 2 by 4 inches for other small birds. You can also stretch monofilament lines across windows, or just, keep blinds or curtains drawn. Window screens are great too.
Oh, that's smart, just breaking up the reflection. What about all those bright lights at night?
Yes, reduce light pollution. Turn off unnecessary outdoor lights from dusk to dawn during peak migration periods. This simple act can genuinely help migrants navigate safely and prevent disorientation. And please avoid pesticides in your garden. They're harmful to birds directly and by reducing their essential insect food sources. Opt for organic alternatives. And if you have a cat, keep it indoors. Domestic cats are a significant threat to bird populations, especially during migration season.
Those are all pretty straightforward things, actually. What if we just want to, enjoy them more, though? Is there a good way to get involved?
Absolutely. Observing and engaging is wonderful. Early mornings and late afternoons are often the most active times for spotting migrating birds. Look for fallouts, large concentrations of grounded birds after adverse weather. Visit local parks, wetlands, or famous migration hotspots like Cape May, New Jersey. And participate in citizen science initiatives like Project Feeder Watch. Contributing valuable data helps scientists monitor bird populations and understand environmental changes. It's truly rewarding.
Oliver, given how important shelter is for birds, what's your take on adding birdhouses and bird baths to our yards, front or back?
It's an excellent idea, Emma. Birdhouses offer crucial nesting and roosting sites. Bird baths provide a consistent, clean water source for drinking and bathing, which is essential, especially when natural water is scarce.
That makes sense for their survival. Are there specific considerations for placement or attracting different species safely?
Certainly. For birdhouses, choose designs for cavity nesters like wrens or bluebirds. Place both houses and baths away from predator-concealing shrubs with some overhead cover if possible. Regular cleaning for both is paramount to prevent disease. It's an investment of time, but incredibly beneficial.
So, with a bit of thought and care, we can truly help.
Exactly. It's a direct and meaningful way to support our local feathered friends right at home.
Oliver, speaking of all these different bird species, it actually made me think of something. My niece has a bird coloring book, and honestly, it's often tricky to figure out the actual bird types from the drawings. Is there a way to quickly find out bird types?
That's a great question, Emma. Coloring books are fun, but real-world identification can be more nuanced. The good news is, yes, there are quick, effective strategies. You don't need to be an expert.
Okay, spill. What's the secret? A simple trick or a tech tool to quickly tell a robin from a thrush when you're just out and about?
For quick ID, focus on size and shape first. Then, distinct color patterns, eye rings, wing bars, unique breast markings. Observe behavior. How does it fly? Does it hop or walk? Modern bird ID apps like Merlin are fantastic. They can even identify birds from photos or their calls.
That's amazing about the apps, Oliver. So what kinds of bird-watching apps are out there? Are they all just for identifying calls, or is there more to them?
That's a great question, Emma. You've got several types. Identification apps, like the Merlin Bird ID we just mentioned, are fantastic for visual and auditory ID. Then there are comprehensive field guide apps, like Audubon or Sibley,
which are digital versions of classic guides. And don't forget citizen science apps like eBird, where you log your sightings, contributing to conservation efforts.
Wow, that's a lot of tech. But, does that mean binoculars are old news? Or are they still the best accessory for really seeing the birds?
Not at all, Emma. Binoculars are absolutely indispensable. Apps enhance the experience with identification and data, but binoculars are crucial for the immersive, detailed observation of birds in their natural habitat. They bring distant birds close, allowing you to see intricate plumage details and behaviors that no app can replicate.
So it's more about using both together then, like apps for the data and ID, and binoculars for the actual up-close viewing.
Precisely. They complement each other perfectly. Apps are powerful tools for knowledge and recording, while binoculars provide that direct visual connection, enriching the birdwatching experience profoundly.
Oliver, observing birds has me curious about their habits. Do most well-known birds share general behavioral patterns, like how they find food?
They do, Emma. Many common species, particularly songbirds, exhibit shared foraging, nesting, and social patterns. They spend a significant portion of their day actively seeking food, whether insects, seeds, or berries.
So constant foraging is universal. What about feeding them? We covered winter provisions, but is it always a good idea, or are there downsides?
A crucial distinction. While supplemental feeding in harsh conditions helps, year-round feeding requires careful thought. Over-reliance can alter natural foraging, and poor feeder hygiene can sadly transmit diseases.
Ah, the hygiene aspect. So responsible feeding is key, not just throwing out scraps.
Exactly. If you feed, use high-quality food, maintain meticulous cleanliness, and understand the implications. It's about thoughtful support, complementing their natural diet to ensure no inadvertent